Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to discuss the fourth week of our module for this quarter. And in this week, we're going to talk about analyzing critical issues, okay? Now, when we say actually analyzing critical issues, so most of the time, we are focusing on a critical reading, okay? Now, what is critical reading? Okay? So when you say reading critically, it does not necessarily mean that you are being critical of what you read. Okay? Critical reading means engaging in what you read by asking yourself, such as, what is the author trying to say? Or, what is the main idea of the text being presented? Okay? That is what we mean when we say critical reading. Okay? We don't just judge the words, the construction of ideas, but we're actually trying to determine what does the author tries to explain, okay? Or what does the author wants to imply, okay? Or another thing is, what does this text present, okay? What is the main focus of this text? That is what we mean when you say critical reading. Now, here are the suggested steps in critical reading. So in order for us to do or to read critically, we are going to take note of these steps. Okay? Now, in your module, on the first one, you have to, before you read, scan the reading text to get an idea of what is about and what the main argument is. Okay? This may include reading an introduction if there is one, or the subheadings. Okay? So that's the first thing that you have to consider. You are going to scan the scan the reading text. Okay? Next, while you read, keep a running dialogue with the author through annotation by recording your thoughts, ideas, and questions. Underline, highlight, or circle important parts and points, and write comments in the margins. Okay? So again, before you read, you have to keep or scan the reading text first. You have to scan it first. That's before you read. Now, while you read, you are going to annotate. Take note of those parts or important points by underlining it, highlighting or circling the words or phrases or sentences. Okay? And make sure that you wrote some important parts, maybe on the top, at the bottom, or at the margin of that book or text that you are reading. Number 3, after you have read, look over your annotations to get an overall idea of the text. So you may also choose to write a summary to solidify your understanding. Okay? So after you have read the text, you try to make a summary of it. Okay? That's very effective. When you are actually reading something and you wanted to make sure that you understand it, you may try to make a summary of that text that you have read. Okay? Because it's very effective for you to better understand what you have just read. Okay? Number 4, responding to the text. After you have developed a clear sense of the author's argument and line of reasoning, you are able to analyze the author's argument and methods. Then you can develop your own ideas or perhaps into an essay of your own. Okay? So those are the 4 things or suggested steps that you can actually do when you are having or doing critical reading. Okay? Next, critical reading involves presenting a reasoned argument and evaluates and analyzes what you have read. So being critical, therefore, in an academic sense, means advancing your understanding. Okay? So that is what critical reading really means. You are trying to advance your understanding of the text. Okay? Now, as a critical reader, you should reflect on, so we have 3 things that you have to reflect on. Number 1, what the text says. Okay? After critically reading a piece, you should be able to take notes and paraphrase the key points in your own words. So do you also do this one? Like after you read it, you are actually trying to paraphrase something. You're trying to understand it on your own words or on your own language. Right? Yes? Okay, next. What the text describes. Okay, so you should reflect on what the text describes. So you should be confident that you have understood the text sufficiently to be able to use your own examples and compare and contrast with other writing on the subject in hand. So do you also do this one? Like you're trying to describe what you have just read and you compare it to other books. Okay? So this applies to all of the books or texts that you have read, right? So sometimes we can read on some books and then we tend to compare it to others, right? Okay, next. In order for you to be more critical in reading, you should reflect on the interpretation of the text. Okay? You reflect on what is the text interpreted into. This means that you should be able to fully analyze the text and state the meaning for the text as a whole. Okay? So, no matter how long the text is, if you are actually reading it critically, you will be able to interpret the text on your own words. Okay? And you will be able to state the meaning for the text as a whole. Okay? So these are the three things that you have to reflect on as a critical reader. Okay? So are you all, guys, a critical reader? Yes or no?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Now again, critical reading means being able to reflect on what the text says, what it describes, and what it means by scrutinizing the style and the structure of the writing, the language used as well as the content. Okay? That is being a critical reader. Okay? You are trying to reflect on what the text says. Okay? You are not just merely reading it without understanding it. Okay? Because some people tend to do that. They just try to read and read and read it, but they don't really understand. Okay? So as a critical reader, most of us do, we are trying to understand what we are reading. Okay? And also to reflect on it. Okay? Not just to understand, but to reflect. Now to sum up, critical reading is a form of language analysis that does not take the given text as a face value, but it involves a deeper examination of the claims put forth as well as supporting points and possible counter-arguments. Okay? So again, critical reading does not just focus on the analysis of the given text. Alright? But it involves deeper examination. When you say deeper examination, because you are trying to reflect on what you are reading. You're trying to relate it on what you have experienced or what you have read or what you have seen in your environment. Okay? Alright. Now, in your worksheet or in your module, we have there two texts that you are actually going to read. And there are also some follow-up questions for you to be able to test your comprehension. And at the same time, of course, reflect on the said text. Okay? So this is how we're going to apply our being a critical reader. Okay? So for your worksheet on this module, so there will be multiple choices. You just have to understand the question and read or choose the best answer. And all you have to do also, the second part, you are going to write your own insights on a certain issue provided on the worksheet. So there will be rubrics presented for you so that you can take note or you can also base your writing or your essay, okay, as your category, okay, or criteria for rating or for your scores. Okay, so thank you very much everyone, and you do have a wonderful day.